much for rejoining us. It's still AM today on OSRC television, and the discussion segment this morning will center around the preparedness and awareness of the Ondo State Independent Electoral Commission ahead of the conduct of the local government election. This morning we're being joined by the chairman, ODIEC, Dr. Joseph Aremo. Thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank you, Mr. Presenter, and I quite appreciate people. Let me welcome you back from the break for Easter. And I know, as we have started, we are moving to another realm.
Perhaps I say the Easter, the ambience is still all over you.
Of course.
So you're still fresh, so to say, in this position. The governor, did all of the ceremony just a few weeks ago.
Okay.
Has it been hitting the ground running?
Oh, you see, even before inauguration, we have to look at what we have on ground. Basically, there's nothing new in the system, other than that we have to sit down and look at how the last election 2020 was conducted, itemize the challenges associated with the election, and see what we can do to make it better. Basically, that's what we have been able to focus in the recent time, and we are moving forward. There's no big deal. We are moving forward. Everything is set, as you could see on Thursday last week, that we have to invite all the election stakeholders to a meeting, tell them that we are ready. Not only that, we have to issue the form particular of candidate to parties after they must have shown interest to participate in an election. And as I can say without any out of doubt, we are ready to ensure that the election is free, credible, fair, and transparent.
When you talk about the Ondo State Independent Electoral Commission, what's the mandate?
Yes.
Of the commission itself?
Yes, the mandate as provided for under the Constitution, our law, the ODIEC law, coupled with the local government establishment administration law. When we look at this together, the community reading of this show that our mandate is to conduct election into elective offices at the grassroots level. And I mean by grassroots level, I mean the local government level. And that is the fundamental mandate we have. Another mandate we have is to synergize with INEC in where they are compiling voter register for the purpose of election. These are the two basic mandates we have. However, with what we have now on ground is to set up a template where there will be equal opportunity to all registered political parties who are willing to take part in the election, and ensure that the election is conducted in a very free, fair, credible, and transparent manner. That is just the core mandate, and that's what we are working toward. And by God's grace, we are going to achieve this.
How independent? You have the name Independence Commission. But how independent, really?
Thank you, Mr. Presenter. You have answered the question partly. You said because we have the name independent. Everything we do here is without any political affinity or no. We are not subjected to any control or monitoring from external body. Be it even within, not only external, be within. We are independent by the law. We are also independent in carrying out our activities. So far, so good. We have our budget as provided under the appropriation law. We have no single problem, so to say, because we are not being controlled by anybody. We do our thing in tandem with the provision of the enabling law. We are not subjected to any control, either within or outside. You can see that we can say it unequivocally that we are independent. That's why, like I've said earlier, that we want to provide equal opportunity to all willing registered political parties. All willing, and to ensure that the election that we are going to conduct this come 16 December this year is going to be credible. It's going to be free, fair, and transparent, just like in the word of Lord Denny, Master of Rome. He said not only should justice be done, but justice should be manifestly seen to be done. That's what we want to do. And at the end of the day, like I said in a program shortly before now, that I will come back to allow the people of Ondo State to assess what we have done. Not just, we are not talking with our talking our shit. We are saying what we are going to do because we are not under any control, be it internal or external.
Now, all eyes are on ODIEC, as you said that the election will hold on the 16th of December. The question is, will that election hold?
Oh, fine. The law provides under the electoral act, the new electoral act, you must give 360 days to parties indicating your willingness to conduct election. That was done on the 16th December last year. And on that day, the timetable was released. By the inauguration we have recently, we have not altered what you have in the timetable. We are working by the content and the provision of the timetable. The election comes 16 December will be held across the local government and world in the state.
Now, we've had situations where some politicals at some point don't want to contest the local government elections, probably because they don't have the trust on ODIEC and other electoral bodies. They'll say no, because ODIEC has been infiltrated by government elements, we cannot trust what they are going to do. So therefore, we will not be part of this election. Are we going to experience that?
This is comical, Mr. Presenter, because it's just like when you say that a party will say that you will not participate in general election. The provision of the law is so clear. The governor appoint, but the appointment will not be valid until it is confirmed by the House of Assembly. Ditto at the federal level, the president appoint, and it's going to be confirmed by the National Assembly. Then for here, I can tell you, without missing words, that party has indicated, party are coming, they are indicating interest to participate. I won't mention the name of party, but you will see at the end of the day that virtually all the party in the state will participate in the election because we have been receiving letter of intent of their willingness and readiness to participate in the 16th December election.
What will you do differently?
Like I've said, the first thing a man can do to ensure that in a process does not give back to the same result is for it, first of all, to x-ray the past processes, identify the shortcoming associated with the processes, then now find a way out of it. What we are doing now is that, like I've said, we will be on ground to monitor the conduct of, to observe the conduct of party primaries. We will not want a situation where we have 2, 3, 4 lists purportedly to have emanated from a primary of any party. But we are going to observe. We are not the one conducting the party primary, but we will observe. And you know the implication of observing. We also have our own document from the party that these are the people who emerged from the primary conducted in when we are there in our present. Now, number 2, this whole process is going to be transparent. That after the voter will get to the polling unit, they will be accredited, they will vote, they have the right to stay back, but not in a random form. Within the context of the law and within the requirement of the law, to watch the whole process. And this sorting will take place in their presence, and the winner, right from the unit to the wall, will be declared in the presence of the people, because sovereignty ultimately belongs to the people. And when you look at this, nobody will have any room to complain. What that was initiated and started before you, that you took part, was concluded in your presence, and you attested to it that it is free, fair. There's nothing. We are not going to do anything in a secret form. That is the system we are putting in place.
Are we going to use all the electronic machines during this election?
You have to be specific. It's just electronic machine. Let us know what you...
The beavers?
Yes.
The IREV?
I decided to allow you to make you mention the specific machine. You see, let me say this. No, today, we have some litigations over the last general election. You should know this, that we don't have the mandate to compile register of voters. As such, we cannot now get a machine to configure, because we are going to get copy of the voter register from INEC. Then we have litigation. some of these things are still things pleaded in court. Our election is December 16. For now, what we want to do is that the commission is trying to study it. Then, if it's possible, we'll get back to the people. But I can tell you, at an appropriate time, the commission will take a step, they will take a categorical position on that. Because some of these things have been pleaded in court at the tribunal, and we cannot go there. It has to be configured by INEC, and we have fixed a day for election. But at an appropriate time, we take a categorical position. But as it were now, if we have to conduct an election tomorrow, there's no way by which you can use beavers.
Dr. Aremo,
yes.
In your earlier submission, you mentioned the fact that since you came on board, it's been a case of trying to check what happened in the last election and how you can better prepare for this coming election. What are some of those things you've noticed in terms of perhaps the challenges and areas of improvement that you're planning to work on?
The first one is why I'm here. People need vote. We need education. The voter need education. People need to be better informed. We are doing more on sensitization, education, creating awareness. Like I've said, when you look at Section 40 specifically in our Constitution, it says sovereignty belongs to the people. And even the Constitution derives the force of validity from that sovereignty. When you look at that section very well. And if people are not informed, if they are not sensitized enough, if they don't have this information to know that they have the power to decide who governs them, many of them will not know. What we are doing first is we find out that we need to do more on enlightenment, on sensitization. And that's why I'm here. That's number one. Number two, you find out that during 2020 local government election, there was no this new electoral act. But what we are doing now, like all these 360 days around that, there are a lot of things that have been brought into the new electoral act, and we are following those provisions religiously. You can see that we have new things to talk about. There are just too many.
That's all in terms of the things you've been able to identify.
Like I've told you,
going forward.
No, we have a lot. For now, like I've told you, we are still working on those attendant challenges associated with the conduct of the 2020 election. You don't just expect me to just in a jiffy x-ray everything. We are still working on that. Like I've told you now, at appropriate time that we are going to take a position on whether we are going to use some of these things you mentioned, the electronic whatever. But now we are doing more in the area of sensitization. We are doing more in inviting the stakeholder and meeting with them. We are doing more in gathering more information about what transpired during 2020 election. And like I've told you again, that not only are we going to observe the conduct of party primary, we will be there and ensure that the product emanating from the conduct of the party primary are the one that are presented to us. You can see we are going to be more on ground, though we are not the one conducting, we are observing. And you know the implication when you observe, you will see things done in the right way.
Well, when you talk about you observing and all of that, when you take a bigger picture, how all of these things usually pan out, or sometimes pan out, particularly with INEC in focus. INEC goes to a particular primary, and when they're back at the office, the parties are expected to submit names and all of that. Between that space, we have a lot of back and forth also coming in. Do you really now have powers to, do certain things to ensure that these political parties play the role according to?
Do you know that we have the power to advise? Where we find that there's going to be likelihood of having an infraction on the law, you can advise. This is what the law says. Why not this way? But political party, sometimes they may have scheming and other things within themselves. Sometimes they end up in litigation. We are talking about sometimes you give advice. If you observe a process and you find out what they are bringing to you is different from what that process actually threw up, all that you need to do is to ask them, but this is what you have. Because let me tell you one basic truth. There's no way any electoral body will observe a system that they will not be given a copy of the product of such a process. The same thing will happen. The same thing happened to the security agent present at the conduct of the primary. They will be also be given the. Then when you find out that other things are happening, you just advise them. However, parties or aspirant or candidate, as the case may be, they have the right to ventilate their grievances in the court. We can't circumvent that. We cannot stop such a process. They allow the right to ventilate their grievances. However, what you are saying is that we can advise. The word advice is not, you are not mandating them, but you want them to see reason why it should be done like this. If they choose to, if they choose not to follow that, the agreed party, either the candidate himself or aspirant or as the case may be, has the right to ventilate his or her grievances at the competent court.
Now we had a situation during the last election, somewhere in the north, the Senate President and Machina. I'm sure you are very conversant with that story, where they held a party primary. The Senate President presented his own letter of saying, I'm not going to contest for this primary because I'm going for presidential. Then at the end of the day, he lost in the presidential primaries. But as at that time, INEC monitored the primary that gave Machina win over every other person there. Then later, the party held another primary and brought a different result again to INEC. Now, INEC went ahead to work with that one. In a situation like this, where INEC monitored one, but did not monitor the other, when such result is brought now to, let's assume something like that happens in those states, you monitored one, you did not monitor the other, and they brought you a different result, which one are you supposed to go with?
Let me ask you this question. Did the matter eventually end up in the litigation in court?
You should answer.
No, because I find out that you isolated that from your own discussion, from your own picture you are painting. They went to court. Then there are things that ordinary layman you may not understand about a process. It's not just about observing. I'm using the word observing. I'm very careful about my diction. Observing a process. Certain things happen at the court. The court must have weighed the probable options and identified, oh, this ought to have been this. And since that's the decision of the court, there's nothing anybody can do. Let me tell you, as we used to say, the Supreme Court in Nigeria, it is infallible because it is final. And it's not that it's fallible because it is infallible because the decision is final. You can't appeal. And there are bases for court arriving at a decision. To a layman, you may have issue with that. But when you look at the law, because the court are court of law, they are not court of conjuncting facts or issues. They look at what the law is. Like what we are saying now, coming back to Ondo State, as you have rightly said, we will observe. And where we find that there's likelihood to be an infraction, we advise. But in any case, if the parties decide not to abide by advice, they have the right to approach the competent court in order to ventilate their grievances. And the decision of the court is binding on the electoral body. If you have the court pronouncing a candidate, maybe you have A, B, C, contesting primary of a party, and A was purportedly declared to be the winner of the primary, but after some time, B, C, D decide to go to court. Maybe on one issue, can be qualification, can be anything. Decide to challenge that, and the court now say now it is D. Now ought to have been declared an issue. Then since we have that, then we comply with that. That is called, because this is not be anarchy. We must all comply by the provision of the law because we have rule of law.
All right, Dr. Aremo, let's now shift focus to part of also what is also important in all of these things that we're talking about. You have the desire, you have the commitment,
yes,
to place a system that will work, that people will be confident in. But all of this cannot be achieved if there's no finance. What's the cost of this election?
Let me tell you, we can't tell you categorically this is the cost for the election. One, we factor in the possibility of having rerun or supplementary election, as the case may be. Because let me use a case as an example. If you are contesting for the seat of chairmanship position of a local government, you must have 25% into third ward and make up that local government. Assuming as the first election we don't have anybody who have that, we cannot just say, this is the amount. We seek out to go and conduct the supplementary election. Then for now you find that inflation is on the rising profile, coupled with the fact that unlike before, like the question you asked initially, like before, we have 3009 polling unit in Ondo State. Today we have about 3,933. That means we have additional 30.5% increase. You could not have expected us to use the same budget for 2020 where we have just 3,009 polling unit. At the same time, the inflation there is not as high as it are today. Then there are things we are working on, but basically those things that are needed has been procured by the commission.
Those things.
You want me to tell you I can't tell you some of the sensitive things we are procured. But I can tell you.
They told us they will use beavers. None of that.
I've given you. I've told you.
Of course. But
if you are not satisfied.
That is a sensitive thing.
No, if you are not satisfied with that.
When you say you cannot tell me sensitive.
By now I cannot. But at the appropriate time I will relate that. I've told you that we are working on some things. Like I've told you, we cannot say categorically take a categorical position on some issue because some of those things we might want to use. They are still before the court in one way or the other for the general election. But I've told you all those things that are required. Election is in stages. The first stage was what you had December 16 last year. The second stage was what you had last week Thursday, where we have issued or we have started to issue EC9 series that a particular candidate to political party at no cost. That is different from nomination forms. So now, like maybe I have not said this. Primary has under the guideline, party are expected to conduct their primary between 10th of this month. That was on Monday to 10th of June this year. And then every other thing required, we have started to release them to register political party so that they can start the process in earnest. And again, like I've told you, we have the discretion to bring in something to ensure that the election is free and fair as far as possible. But not everything for now we can be able to disclose to the public.
So we can put a figure to the elections.
Figure in terms of what?
Finance.
Finance?
Yes.
I've told this. Do you expect me to tell, okay, it's going to be 1 billion? Like I've told you, inflation is an important factor.
Okay.
If, for example, if we have requested for some item, and at the time they want to supply, and the people that say the market price has changed, it means that they may definitely apply for variation. I think you'll be asking us that what did it cost us to conduct the election after we might have conducted the election?
Really?
Of course.
That should be where we ask the question, what will it cost you?
No, and like I've told you, are you telling me to disclose to you what the material needed, unit by unit? It is not for now. I've told you that as of today we have 3,933 polling units.
Okay.
Unlike before that we have 3,009. By implication, the cost will be higher than what it was in 2020.
Right,
because we need more personnel, we need more like ballot boxes, we need other things.
Good enough you mentioned the issue of personnel.
Yeah.
And that's another critical area when you look at the conduct of election in Nigeria. For INEC, they have ad hoc staffs, and of course they get to go through trainings. Even at that, you still see some form of shortfalls, as it were. So for you, how are you approaching the issue of personnel that you will be deploying for this election? I know it's still months away, but for proper preparations prevent poor performance, they say. How are you looking into the issue of personnel?
Just like you said, personnel is very key to the conduct of any election. But know that anything that have human intervention, human being involved, there are bound to be some teaching challenges. It's normal, We are human beings. You cannot have 3, 4, 5 persons of the same mindset at the same time because they are from different biological background. What we are doing differently is that we will train, retrain, according to train until they reach the level at which we believe that they can handle any assignment given to them, and eventually we have free and credible election.
Where is the place of bribing those people? How much training do you think you can give humans? Because you talked about mindsets, and the truth is you cannot be everywhere at the same time. How do you pick these people to be sure they are people of integrity that will not be jeopardized?
The first one is that we are going to administer oath of neutrality on them. It's normal. Number 2, not every intending participant as adult staff. In that process, we must have be able to distinguish between who is qualified and who is not qualified. Talking about bribery, many a time we talk about bribery, but how many times have we blown it up in such a way that those people could be arrested and be made to pass through the rigor of the law itself? Again, we allege we are all partner in progress when it comes to this. I know for sure that you journalists, you also observe and monitor. When you see anything wrong, draw attention to it. Aside from the fact that we are talking about bribery during election, it is an offense that whoever is caught and is found guilty, we have to face the law of the law. We are ready and we are willing. Just like the meeting we had with the security agency, we want to use Ondo State as a benchmark. If we have any of our staff, no matter how highly placed the person is, involving in this either corruption or bribery as the case may be, we are going to ensure that the person is prosecuted. That's the way to go.
I'm particular about that oath. Is it the local or the traditional? No, because the truth is, people fear the traditional oaths more. Is that what we are using?
As if we are being conducting a local election, right?
Thank you. Then I think maybe you are going to, if you have somebody who is a pastor, maybe he's eventually brought in as another staff. I don't know whether you are going to administer oath of neutrality. No, I'm just saying. You see, as I mentioned the word oath of neutrality, people don't know that the fact that you administer oath creates a state of apprehension. It creates, so to say, you say, I swore to this oath, and like I've told you, we will not hesitate to replace anybody at any point in time. Our focus, like I've told you, is to put Ondo State on the map where people will come and copy from us.
You know, just like when you talk about putting Ondo State on the map, I begin to wonder also that you have states that have not conducted this local government election, and things are just going that way.
You see, like I've told you, when you look at the constitution, it said that the existence of local government council is under the democratical means is under the constitution recognized. It means that constitution place much premium on democracy at the grassroots. Those who have not conducted, they will come, they will ask us, how do we go about it? It is there we are placing Ondo State on the map of history.
Let's just quickly go back to the issue of personnel that you mentioned.
Yes.
When INEC, I like to, because you are brothers and sisters, INEC and ODIEC,
but our mandates are different.
Of course, I understand. When you talk about the issue of personnel, for the 2 or 3 words, over 3,000 polling units, what numbers are you looking at in terms of personnel that will, look to participate?
Now, it also depends where the unit, where it has a very high population, you may pick 2 persons or 3 persons. For example, we have the POCLA, the presiding officer. We may have to have assistant. Where, depending on population. Unlike a polling unit that the population is not on that one on the high side, where 2 persons. It depends. We are going to look at the peculiarity. For example, now I can be talking about the terrain at the seaside now, unlike what we have here in Akure, where we have to deploy speedboat and etc. That's why I was telling that we are studying some things at the level of the commission, so that by the time we come out, we'll be able to tell you, okay, these are what we have actually put in place. Our concern for now is that the election we want to conduct come 16 December is going to put the state on the global map.
You met with security agents.
Yes, not only the security agent. We met with
election stakeholders.
Yes.
But I'm spotlighting.
Yeah.
I'm spotlighting the security agencies because security is also very
key. Yes.
That discussion, what happened? What sort of conversations you have?
Well, was to tell them that we are ready, that we are releasing this, and we need their cooperation, and they have pledged that. Because if we decide to do things without carrying them along, it is easier for them. Oh, we are not carrying along. That's why we have pocket of crisis. But now we have told them in clear terms that they should be fully ready to work with us, and they are giving their ways. That's why we are together on the same page.
The question also popped into my mind when you talk about security. In the last election, state-owned security agencies did not participate. The IGP was strong on that look, they must not participate across the country. Here in Ondo State, we have something, in that form in terms of the Ondo State Security Network Agency. Are they also going to be partaker in this election? Are you speaking with them?
Yeah, let me tell you one thing. When you talk about the Ondo State Security Network, codename Amoteco, you will find out that the creation of that agency was to complement the role of the existing security agency we have. Then the IT category said that no, it should only be left for the police, the civil, the ATC, and not all this state, because of the fact that those one are creation of the act at the national level. What you have at the state level is law. We are working, we are looking at that. It's part of those things the commission is looking at. Even when you don't find them at the polling unit, it doesn't stop them from doing the normal or their primary assignment. Since we have had a Moteco in Ondo State now, at least you could see that the state has been relatively peaceful. It's not just about the polling unit. Outside the polling unit, they perform their statutory responsibility. We are looking at that, so that at an appropriate time we tell you the direction we are going. But I can tell you, even though if they are not at the polling unit, they should be doing their statutory responsibility. Because you cannot conduct election in an atmosphere where there's chaos. It's not possible. It's not about polling unit. Before the voter, the prospective voter, access the polling unit, the environment must be peaceful. If not, there will be a problem. That's why that even when they are not even physically present at the polling unit, they should be where they are doing their regular and usual assignment. The major thing is that election can only be conducted in an atmosphere where there's peace, tranquility, and harmony.
Interesting conversation, Dr. Joseph Aremo, ODIEC chairman here in those states, talking about the preparations for the coming local government election. You mentioned that from the 10th of this month till June.
10th
of June.
Yes.
The parties are expected to conduct
their primary. Yes.
After primaries, what's also on the timetable for ODIEC?
No, after primary, they submit the name, they submit the particulars of the candidate, they get nomination form for the candidate. Now the decision of the commission, let me mention that to you. It's going to be 100,000 naira for chairmanship, while it's 30,000 naira for councillorship. It's not, the fees is not, it's not to write home about. It's to ensure that intended people participate, because the grassroots government is very key when you discuss democracy in Nigeria. The reason why they call it grassroots, because that is the closer government to the people. And that after that we have, by 17 July the campaign will start. Then there can be issue of maybe substitution of a candidate, maybe because the person may decide to resign out of volition, or I don't pray for that. There can be casualty, whatever. All those processes will now continue until the last one we have, which is going to be 16 December for the poll.
So what you've told us on this program is you work with the amended Electoral Act, isn't it?
The new Electoral Act.
The new Electoral Act.
Yes.
2022.
Yes.
Interesting. All right. For those who.
And sorry, the new Electoral Act, and together with the enabling law. Now I've cited some law for you. We have the ODIEC law. we have the local government system, establishment administration law for Ondo State, all together. But the electoral act, the provision, our timetable, our guideline, everything is in tandem with the provision of this law, including the new electoral act.
We are hoping to have more of this conversation as the days, draw closer to that election. But I want you to close with this. For the residents who have the right to participate in that election come the 16th of December, we've spoken about the issue of voter apathy.
Yes.
What would you be telling them this morning?
Like I've said, the power to choose who govern you reside in you. And that is the essence of the constitution, saying that sovereignty belongs to the people. It means that people have the power to decide who govern them at any point in time. I want to encourage our residents in Ondo State to come 16 December and vote for any candidate of your choice, any party of your choice. And I will ensure you that we are going to provide an atmosphere where the election will be conducted in a free, fair, credible, and transparent manner. Again, we are looking forward to ensuring that the party play according to the rule.
Thank you so much, Chairman, Ondo State Independent Electoral Commission, Dr. Joseph Aremo has been speaking with us on the preparedness and, of course, creating awareness for the coming election. Thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank you. God bless you.
Yes, for those who participated in that election in 2020, yes, it's getting to another time where you're also expected to come out to participate in the process. And when we talk about entrenching democracy and its values here in Nigeria, so it begins from the grassroots, Flora, isn't it?
Yes, and it's also a clarion call for each and every one of us to go out there and exercise our franchise. Don't say your vote does not count. It surely counts.
This is where we wrap up on the program. AM Today for the Wednesday edition. I'm Sahid Aribisala. Bye-bye.